So the way these college presentations work is simple. They're usually things that parents want to hear, and then there are things that students want to hear. And oftentimes there's this big wall in between them. So I'm going to give you the best of both worlds. Parents first, students second. So what do parents want to hear? In general, parents like to hear about facts and figures, like how big is the student body? What is the student to faculty ratio? How many books are in the library? Whatever. But before we get to those numbers, we need to ask a broader question, and that is, why go to college at all? Below are some possible answers that people might tell you. Everything from finding yourself to finding a job. But it all comes down to the point that college is an investment. Specifically, you are paying in capital in terms of money and the foregone opportunity cost in order to invest in your human capital. We can judge the prudence of this investment by looking at its payouts. Some of you probably think that I'm talking about money. And I just want to say there is certainly a lot more to this investment than just money. However, future earnings are pretty important. So a study was done looking at the median salaries for graduates of various schools. The study found that Dartmouth graduates had the highest mid-career salary of any university graduates in the country, the median of $129,000. Other Ivy League schools were also included on that table, but who cares about second place? And so you might be asking me why. Why are Dartmouth alumni so very, very obscenely rich? And my parents' answer to that parents' question is that it is in the strength of our alumni connections. When I was a columnist for the Dartmouth, the college's daily newspaper, I wrote this op-ed. See, there's my name. I think my mom still has a copy of this taped to the fridge. And what I've come to understand is that Dartmouth is able to create a strong and united campus community by offering shared, collective experiences. When you come to campus for the first time, you'll all go out on freshman trips, hiking, canoeing, painting, climbing, kayaking, and walking Dartmouth's vast and pristine New Hampshire landholdings. You'll all eat at Collis or in food court, you'll swim in the river, you'll ski at the skiway, and you'll hang out on Webster Avenue. At a place like Columbia or NYU, students vanish into the sprawling metropolis to lead lives completely different from those that they may sit next to in class. But at Dartmouth, by being trapped on the inside, as it were, we build up a huge sense of community and solidarity, not only with our own class, but with every other. And while I won't say that our alumni will hire every Dartmouth man who sends a resume their way, when they look upon those younger faces, they often see a bit of themselves, that Dartmouth spirit, that Dartmouth family resemblance. So parents, what your son or daughter is going to get out of a Dartmouth education is membership. Membership into one of the greatest business and social clubs in the United States. We're loyal, we're friendly, and we're everywhere. We take care of our own, and we can't wait to meet you. So that's the end of my parents' presentation. If you're like me, you're still left wanting. So this is what I tell you, students. For some ungodly reason, this third-tier magazine has been assigned the task of issuing the comprehensive and definitive rankings of all the colleges in the United States. Why that job went to a magazine as pedestrian as U.S. News and World Report is beyond my understanding. But it is the hell that we all live in. So if you're like me, you're probably interested the most in these two numbers: the college's rank, and to a lesser extent, the admissions rate. Our admissions rate for you, the class of 2015, is actually 9.7%. What our rank will be next year, who knows? Now, some of you plan to make your college decision on these numbers alone. And if you're in this room, God help you. Basing your decision on where you want to spend the next 4 years of your life, where you will turn into the person you're meant to become, on these 3 digits, can only lead to disaster. Robert Kennedy is a hero of mine, and he said a quote that I like to use a lot. Now, in this quote, he was talking about the GNP, the gross national product. What he said could equally apply to college rankings. He said, "Yet the college's rank does not allow for the health of our students, the quality of their education, or the joy of their play. It does not include the beauty of our poetry, or the strength of our relationships, the intelligence of our public debate, or the integrity of our honor principle. It measures neither our wit nor our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning, neither our compassion nor our devotion to our college. It measures everything, in short, except that which makes college life worthwhile, and it tells us everything about Dartmouth, except why we are proud to be Dartmouth students." To the right is Webster Hall, the home of the Dartmouth Special Collections Library. By the way, Dartmouth has some of Shakespeare's original folios, and as a student, you can just walk right up to the desk and ask to hold them and read them. To the left is Daniel Webster, class of 1801, the legendary U.S. Senator and Secretary of State, who had the supreme honor of defending his alma mater in the landmark Supreme Court case Dartmouth v. Woodward. Now, in that case, the state of New Hampshire was trying to revoke Dartmouth's royal charter, effectively killing the college. In his passionate defense of his alma mater, Webster brought Chief Justice John Marshall to tears, telling him, "It is, sir, as I have said, a small college, and yet there are those of us who love it. And if a hardened U.S. Senator could break down defending Dartmouth, I can make an effort too." And so for the rest of this presentation, I'm going to tell you why I love Dartmouth. You don't need to recognize this man, but his name is James Wright, and he was the 16th president of Dartmouth College. Wright was president when I was a freshman, and I remember the very first thing he ever said to me. He's well over 6 feet tall and has a voice somewhere between James Earl Jones and God. I had just moved into my dorm, gotten close with my roommates, and was filled with all this emotion when Wright took the stage at a freshman assembly and simply said, "Welcome home." And from that moment until the present day, that's exactly where I've been. Home. If someone were to ask me what I love about Dartmouth, I might talk about the way that no matter what direction you approach Hanover, the first thing you see, rising out of the forests and surrounding mountains, is the white face of Baker Tower. I talk about the feeling I get in the pit of my chest when at 6 p.m. I hear the bells from that tower toll the song of the alma mater. I talk about how almost all of campus turns out for the homecoming football game, not to cheer on the players, but to rally the freshmen to rush the field at halftime and get chased around by campus security. I might talk about how comfortable it is to study in Sanborn House, or how they serve tea there every day at 4 p.m. I might talk about how warm it is in the balcony in the winter, and how easy it is to fall asleep in those chairs. I talk about my favorite study spot in the periodicals room, or I talk about the pleasure of finding new ones. I talk about the breathtaking view from Baker Tower, or the sight of sunbeams passing through tree branches in summer, and how the snow weighs them down in winter. I talk about how I got to meet Barack Obama and all the other candidates as they came through for the presidential primaries, and I talk about how my primary vote for Hillary Clinton was worth several thousand times more than a vote cast anywhere else. I talk about the sight of dogs on the green in summer, or the sight of squirrels in the snow in winter. I talk about how the D plan gave me the time to go on exchange to Oxford in the spring, work in Washington in the summer, and learn Spanish in Barcelona in the fall. I talk about this guy, economics professor Mir Cohn, and don't let that smile fool you, he's the hardest, most grizzled professor in the entire department. I took his finance class over sophomore summer, and it effectively ruined any chance I had of having fun outside. I studied for 30 hours a week, suffered through every exam, got a subpar grade, and you know what? It was worth it. I made strong, lasting friendships out of my study group. I was challenged every day by a professor who would not accept BS answers, and I had the satisfaction that comes with things not easily earned. I might talk about how pretty the leaves are in fall, or how delicious the cookies are in the pavilion. I might talk about the 40,000 acres of land that Dartmouth owns, making it the largest landowner in the entire state. How Dartmouth students take advantage in experiencing the beauty that every inch has to offer. I might talk about our traditions, running around the bonfire, building mammoth snow sculptures, partying in the spring, and field stock in the summer, and how they link my class to all the ones who came before. I talk about the world-class professors we have who spend as much time teaching actual students as they do doing research. As an aside, my cousins all went to Princeton. They enrolled in a class taught by Maya Angelou, and you know what? She taught the first day, and the TAs did the rest. That hasn't happened at my Dartmouth. At my Dartmouth, the professors are always available to talk out of class. They take pains to ensure you understand the subject. They invite you into their homes, and they become the friends you want them to be. But I'd probably choose the people. The down-to-earth men and women who work hard in class and play hard in life. Who regard their peers as their sisters and their brothers. Who don't take themselves too seriously, but go on to enact serious changes in the world. And I talk about how I think of all of these things every time I look down at my graduation ring, and how years from now, when I return to Dartmouth and cross the green at 6 p.m., just as the bell tower begins to chime the alma mater, I'll smile to myself and know that I'm home. Thank you. This has been an updated recording of a speech delivered in May of 2010 during a debate of the Dartmouth Political Union, moderated by Miriam Zafer, class of 2012, 5th speaker of the DPU. The script was written and delivered by myself, Nathan Bruschi, class of 2010, 1st president of the DPU. Photography credits go to the staff of the Dartmouth Aegis Yearbook and to myself. To learn more about the DPU, please go to dpu.hostcell.net.